The Bourne Braves are in town at Red Wilson Field. They host the Y-D Red Sox hosting the best team on Cape, the Bourne Braves, and Y-D taking on the Bourne Braves, and Nolan McCarthy tossing his warm-up pitches, some alongside Brad Klein, and a beautiful Friday evening, a few minutes before 5 o'clock, getting set for first pitch here at Red Wilson Field. And Nolan McCarthy, he's going to make his second start of the season. His first start, Brad, came against the Bourne Braves, but he got chased after just getting 4 outs. But this time around, we'll see how deep he can go throughout this Bourne lineup, who's hitting .282 as a team on the road, and they're the best team thus far on Cape with a record of 14-2-3. Y-D coming off a loss. They're 9-7-4. But that game that they lost at home, just the second loss they've had here at Red Wilson Field, they've been pretty tough at home.
Yeah, the Red Sox defending Red Wilson Field well, and for Nolan McCarthy, this is a completely different animal. Even though it's the first inning again, and it's again the first inning against the Bourne Braves, that last quote-unquote start wasn't really a start. It was an open. He was opening for Adam Meyer, but there's really no one expected behind him in the bullpen immediately tonight. Y-D's hoping to get at least 4 innings out of him. This is a real start.
Christian Knapczyk will lead things off for Bourne, and then it goes Max Anderson, Dalton Rushing, Braylon Wimmer, Caden Wallace, Colby Thomas, Joshua Molin, Tanner Schobel, and Peter Burns. That's the order for the Bourne Braves, and it's a tough order so far. 14 wins for Bourne on the season, and they're averaging over 5 runs per game, while the pitching staff is limiting the damage as well. And they're coming off 3 straight victories against the worst team on Cape, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. They've lost 10 games in a row, and Bourne, they beat them on Monday, Tuesday, and then had a walk-off winner at the hands of Caden Wallace on Wednesday, coming off a 3-game sweep of the Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, Hyannis really struggling this year. It just feels like if you're playing Hyannis, not necessarily an off day because they played Bourne pretty close, but a very clear path to a win.
A struggling team right now, but 2 teams battling tonight as the second offering from the right-hander Nolan McCarthy misses. A ball and a strike here to Christian Knapczyk. 5 for his last 15. He's hitting .371 on the road this season. And the defense behind the right-hander, he's going to be tossing to the Stanford catcher Cody Huff. Over at third is Robinson, short is Peyton Graham. Robinson making his first start. Hoffman over at second base. He's been a mainstay in the order for Scott Pickler. And Dominic Keegan getting his first start. He was just activated yesterday as the pitch is fouled back, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And he was the best hitter for the Vanderbilt Commodores, who just came short of winning it all, but they fell to Mississippi State in the 3rd game of that 3-game series in the College World Series. He's at first base today and excited to have his addition to the lineup. And then in the outfield, it's Tanner Smith, Briley Knight, and Chase Luttrell as the right-hander has a full count to Christian Knapczyk to begin this ballgame. But exciting, you got a little bit of an orchestra of some new players. 4 of the 9 starters in the lineup, Brad, they weren't on the opening day roster as the 3-2 pitch misses inside and Knapczyk draws a walk to begin the ballgame.
Well, Nolan McCarthy starts off the game with a walk, which is something you never want to do, but more importantly, it was a deep count, and it is a very hot day at Red Wilson Field today. So if he's working harder than he probably has to, it's going to be a short day for Nolan McCarthy.
Max Anderson comes to the box, hitting .217 over the last 5 games. 5 for his last 22, swings through the first offering from McCarthy. And when it is hot, obviously the fatigue comes into effect for the starting pitcher more often than not. Nolan McCarthy making his second start. He just got 4 outs, but you mentioned he was more of working as an opener. They weren't expecting him to go the distance as a starter would, but see how many outs they could get out of the right-hander in his first appearance. And then Adam Meyer came in, but that's not the scheduled programming today for Y-D and the pitching staff. Adam Meyer projected to start tomorrow. A check over at first. Nothing doing for Christian Knapczyk. McCarthy, he's a big right-hander, the tallest player on the roster at 6'5". And he's coached by a big arm as well. Tom Basella, 6'6", the pitching coach. as it's fouled back. But he's close to being 24 years old. He's a Occidental College alumni. And so he's pitched a lot of innings at the collegiate level. Had some outstanding years at Occidental, and then just came off a graduate year at Georgetown as that ball's fouled back, where he threw the ball pretty effectively in Georgetown. They had an interesting story. They didn't get on the field until January. They didn't have a coach till later in October. And so they had an interesting situation with that program, but he threw the ball pretty effectively in his first year in the Big East after really dominating at Occidental. Pitch misses outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes after drawing or issuing the free pass to Christian Knapczyk. He's on first base. But McCarthy has the fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. And he played for Y-D, had a 1.93 ERA in the summer of 2019. In 3 appearances, 4 2/3 tossed, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. So his second stint with the Red Sox has tossed 289 career innings with a 3.05 ERA in his NCAA career, which spans over 5 seasons. Knapczyk is off, but it's fouled back by Anderson. Dalton Rushing on deck. And the meat of this order, as good as it gets, Dalton Rushing, Braylon Wimmer, and Caden Wallace just stacked in the heart of this Bourne Braves lineup. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Anderson with 1 runner aboard, no outs, top of the first.
And that last pitch, you had a runner going, and Huff looked disappointed that there was a foul ball. He's been fantastic behind the plate with his arm.
He's licking his chops when runners go. A runner goes there but can't dig it out of the dirt, and it gets behind Cody Huff. And it was Knapczyk who was off to the races last pitch. It was fouled back. This one, it's taken by Anderson for the second consecutive full count. And it's Knapczyk who's able to take second base. And many runners, they probably are going to be a little more reluctant, or at least you would think, to run on Cody Huff. He's just had great pop times down to second and caught everybody out to dry trying to steal. But that time it's Knapczyk who's able to get to second with no throw after it gets behind Cody Huff. But here comes the full count pitch. Grounded to short. Peyton Graham over to first, and there's 1 away, but Knapczyk advances to third base, and that brings up Dalton Rushing with 1 out and a runner on third here in the top of the first.
Well, McCarthy now has to be able to accept that you're probably going to allow a run, but 1 run is a lot better than many runs, so you shouldn't be too concerned about the runner on third. The infield's going to come in for you. But if you give up a pop fly to the outfield, that should still be considered a win in the first inning.
Here comes Dalton Rushing. Been really on a tear lately as he fouls the first pitch back out of play. 8 for his last 17, hitting .471 over the last 5 games. And hitting .333 in 11 games this month. And his collegiate teammate Christian Knapczyk on third base, as Dalton Rushing trying to drive him in, the designated hitter. The 0-1. And the pitch misfires on the breaking ball. A ball and a strike. The 1-1. Foul back, a ball and 2 strikes to Dalton Rushing, the third place hitter for Bourne. Been really impressive. Has had a home run, 3 RBIs while hitting .471 over the past 5 games. And the Louisville Cardinal currently has the highest batting average on the team at .351 on the season. 5 multi-hit games this year for Dalton Rushing. Playing in his 18th game with the Braves today. Up with a ball and 2 strikes, 1 out, and a runner on third. Outside, Cody Huff popped, throw down to third. Not in time as Knapczyk's able to get back there. Cody Huff got fired over to third with the infield in. Popped it down to Crew Robinson. But it's Knapczyk who's back in time. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Knapczyk on third and Rushing in the box. No score, top of the first. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss, and a big strikeout for Nolan McCarthy. He elevates with the heater, and there's 2 away.
Scott Pickler loves those design pitch outs, especially when there's a runner in scoring position on third base, but Nolan McCarthy buckling down and getting a big-time strikeout here, now 2 away, and a chance to go through this first inning unscathed.
So Braylon Wimmer up to the plate. 10 for his last 32, hitting .313 over the last 10 games. 2 outs, runner on third. First pitch misses low. Cody Huff goes down to block it. The infield backs up now with 2 outs after pinching in with 1 out, but McCarthy gets the strikeout of Dalton Rushing. Trying to work out of a runner on third base, the leadoff walking Christian Knapczyk. Second pitch misses low and outside to Braylon Wimmer. Plays at South Carolina in his 17th game of the season, hitting .276 on the year, but on a 4-game hitting streak. He went 0 for 1 against Y-D, and then has had hits in 4 consecutive games. He went 1 for 5 last game in the 3rd game of the 3-game set against the Harbor Hawks, and he takes a healthy hack on a 2-ball, no-strike pitch, swings through it. So 2 balls and a strike with 2 outs. Knapczyk over on third base, and Caden Wallace waiting on deck, who's been one of the better hitters in the league thus far. No score, top of the first, and the pitch from McCarthy. Misses outside, and 3 balls and a strike. Here to Braylon Wimmer. 6'4", 200, big frame, swinging it from the right side. Wimmer going to be in left field today. And the 3-1 from McCarthy. That ball struck well to left field by Braylon Wimmer. It is cracked off the top of the wall, gathered by Smith. 1 run comes across, and Wimmer runs into second base with a stand-up 2-out RBI double. It's 1-0 Bourne in the top of the first.
Well, Nolan McCarthy falls behind in the count. 3 balls, 1 strike with 2 outs, and you're thinking, man, I'm so close to the finish line after the big strikeout on Rushing. Let me challenge him, and he did. And Braylon Wimmer was sitting on the fastball, middle. He got it, and he just missed it over the left field fence.
Nearly with the home run, but he gets a double and an RBI with 2 outs. And not out of the woods yet, with Caden Wallace to the plate. 1-0 lead for Bourne, as their high-powered offense notches a run in the top of the first against the right-hander Nolan McCarthy. Misfires on the breaking ball on the first offering. Wallace, a very talented player. One of the best players at Arkansas this past season. 9 for his last 22, hitting .346 during that span, and on a 6-game hitting streak, hitting .368 over the last 10 games. Been a consistent staple in Bourne's lineup. Just takes the pitch outside, and as we're past now the midway point, right around the midway point of the season, I know yesterday we talked about potential all-stars that we would brainstorm, and Caden Wallace definitely someone who would be on that list to represent the West Division if we had any say with it. And the numbers don't lie, and he's in a 2-ball, no-strike count with 2 outs. Braylon Wimmer on second base after the RBI double, the 2-0 pitch to Wallace. Misses outside. Now 3 balls and no strikes. Wallace plays the outfield. He could move to the hot corner next year. Hitting .327 right now in his 15th game of the summer for Bourne. Takes a 4-pitch walk, and he reaches first base. It looked like McCarthy could have potentially tried to be careful with the first-team freshman All-American Caden Wallace, and he draws a free pass.
One thing that McCarthy's not doing a very good job with in this first inning is allowing his field to help him out. And falling behind in the count is a product of him trying to perfect every pitch. And as a result, he's missing a lot of them. 3-ball, 4-ball counts.
He fires a strike on the first offering as Colby Thomas watches it. But yeah, the 4-pitch walk to Colby Thomas, it didn't necessarily result in the worst thing to happen. Wallace with 12 runs driven in on the season, but had a base open. But now you got to deal with Colby Thomas with 2 aboard and 2 outs, nothing in 1 count. The second walk issued in this frame, and that ball cracked to center field, and Briley Knight is a spectator. A 3-run home run for Colby Thomas, and it's a 4-0 lead for Bourne in the top of the first.
Home run, Colby Thomas.
And Scott Pickler's already seen enough.
Scott Pickler's walking out. Nolan McCarthy is coming out of the game. He records 2 outs, and Scott Pickler, as you said it, has seen enough. We will take a break. It's 4-0 Bourne, and we'll tell you about the new pitcher on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network next. Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network in a new arm. Nolan McCarthy records 2-out surrenders, 4 runs on 2 hits. And it's now Jared Lyons out of the bullpen, the newest Y-D Red Sox. And the right-hander working here now to Colby Thomas. And he gets hit by the pitch. A 4-0 lead, 2 outs, and Lyons' first batter he sees. He runs in and hits Joshua Molin, so Tanner Schobel now to the plate.
Lions put in a very, very big spot here. Down by 4 early on. Can you keep Y-D in the game and give your hitters a chance? They haven't even gotten a chance to move around the lineup themselves yet, and they're already down by 4. So if Lions can insert a little bit of energy into this team and in this game, then Y-D has a chance.
Yeah, Jared Lyons, the newest Red Sox, recently activated from Springfield, Virginia. 6'1" junior from George Mason. Has good fastball that can touch 94 miles an hour, a plus curveball. And so those are the two main pitches that he throws. He also can show a slider and a changeup as well, but had a really good season, a first-team A10 honoree this past year when he started 12 games for George Mason, 72 and a third logged, and a 3.73 ERA, where he picked up 6 victories and had a 6-2 record on the mound. So he won half of his starts, had a sub-4 ERA, a formidable starter for George Mason, and he may have to act as a starter today coming out of the bullpen after McCarthy just got 2 outs. And so the right-hander facing off against Schobel, and he strikes him out on 3 pitches. Schobel rung up, Lyons gets the out, but it's Bourne who strikes. 4 runs on 2 hits, 3 of which came off a 3-run home run from Colby Thomas. And in the middle of the first, it's 4-0 Bourne on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, and the Bourne Braves struck Brad. 4 runs, top of the first, a 3-run home run for Colby Thomas. And Christian Knapczyk came around to score as well, along with Braylon Wimmer, who had an RBI double to drive in Knapczyk. And then Wimmer, Wallace, and Colby Thomas came around to score off the hands of a no-doubt home run to center field. And now Wyatt Hoffman digs to the box. He's been Y-D's best player so far this summer, hitting really effectively and now inserted atop Y-D's order. Fouls it back. But Y-D's got their work cut out for them, not because they're down 4-0 against a team who holds the best earned run average in the league, but they're going against a right-hander who had 4 perfect innings against Y-D just last week on last Saturday. So less than a week ago, and that was the outing for this right-hander, Tristan Vreeling. Hard-throwing right-hander out of Gonzaga. 6'4", 205. From Washington, 4 perfect innings out of the bullpen against Y-D last Saturday, and that gave him opportunity to start. Bourne saw that he can give them some length, and in this week This past week, Bourne has had 3 different starters make their first start of the season, while Vreeling is the 4th, and he issues a walk. That's the first base runner he's allowed in the last 7 innings. He had 7 perfect innings going into this one. He had 4 perfect against Y-D, as we mentioned, and 3 against Wareham in his last 2 outings, but surrenders a free pass immediately to Wyatt Hoffman, who gets aboard. And now it's Dominic Keegan. Dominic Keegan making his first appearance for Y-D at the plate. Played first last half inning. Y-D excited to have this talented athlete. Picked by the New York Yankees in the 19th round of the draft that just happened, but he's opted to go back to Vanderbilt. These players, they do have until August to decide if they want to sign or not. Someone who probably was projected to go much earlier in the draft, and a very good hitter for Vanderbilt. 60 games played. He hit .345 for the Commodores. He was their best hitter, most consistent hitter, and had 15 home runs as well. As he chops this one foul. Sprayed toward the right side in foul territory. Colby Thomas is able to glove it as Keegan is retired, and there's 1 out for Tanner Smith.
I thought that one was going to get out. I think Keegan did too, and not the way he wants to start his Y-D career. Looked like he might have been a little tense there, maybe pressing a little bit, because typically he gets the bat through the strike zone, and he is a really, really good hitter.
Yeah, excited to see what Keegan can bring to the offense. Inserted in the 2-hole in Scott Pickler's lineup. A second-team All-American. Was one of the best players on one of the best teams in the country in Vanderbilt this past season. Playing first today, he can also catch. Probably going to be in the mixture behind the plate and at the corners for Y-D. But now Tanner Smith to the plate. Here against Vreeling, the right-hander out of Gonzaga, making his first start of the season as Tanner Smith hits this one hard to the right side. Going back on it is Colby Thomas. And it pops out of his glove. He could have lost it in the sun. He was camped under it for a second. It pops in and out of the leather, and it's an error on Colby Thomas right after he made the catch in foul territory on Dominic Keegan, and Tanner Smith is aboard. 2 are on for Cody Huff.
It's funny because I don't think he lost it in the sun. I think he had it the entire way and then took his just eye off the ball. I don't think it really had anything to do with the sun, which in theory could be a problem, but he was under the ball. He tracked it well. It's not like the ball landed 5 feet away from where he was.
So in the bottom of the first, Y-D with runners on first and second. See if they can't get some runs back after surrendering 4 in the top of the first. Off of 2 hits, an RBI double from Braylon Wimmer and a 3-run home run from Colby Thomas. 0-1 the count after Cody Huff fouls it back. Cody Huff catching today for Y-D out of Stanford. Hits this one to the right side, gloved over at second by Knapczyk. Over to short, and Schobel is there as Tanner Smith is cut off the base paths, and Cody Huff will reach on the fielder's choice. And here comes Peyton Graham, Y-D shortstop.
Shortstop number 20, Peyton Graham from Oklahoma.
Well, Cody Huff hitting the ball to the right side, I think that could have been 2 if Knapczyk made a very clean exchange, which he didn't, but he was able to keep his composure and get the force out on the runner at second. Now a big chance for Peyton Graham.
Graham had one of the 4 hits that Y-D had last time they played Bourne. This is the second meeting between the 2 teams this year. Bourne won 10-3 on Saturday. There's one more game left on the schedule between these 2 teams, so if Bourne is able to win, they would clinch the season series between Y-D. Bourne in first in the West, Y-D tied for first with Brewster in the East. Bourne with a 48-run differential, plus 48-run differential, with a 14-2-3 record, 31 points to pace all teams. Graham is hitting .297 at home, but he's 4 for his last 34, hitting .118 in the month of July. As he chops it over to short, Schobel comes up on it, gets rid of it quickly, and Graham is retired. So no runs and no hits, but a couple stranded for Y-D, and after one, Bourne leads 4-0 on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network alongside Brad Klein, Will Connerly with you. And Schobel takes the first pitch for a strike. It appeared as though Moeling got hit by the pitch last at-bat, but then he came back to the plate and was rung up. So a little confusion at the end of the first, and it's Schobel, Burns, and Knapczyk to lead off the top of the second. That ball sprayed right side. Chase Luttrell moves over, then he's called off by Briley Knight. And Briley Knight makes the play on the move over in right center field. Yeah, there was a little confusion upon entering the game, the right-hander. It looked like the first guy he saw, he hit, and that's what the call was initially. And then he came back to the plate and struck out. So apologies there, but not for the right-hander. So he retires the first two batters he sees. Comes in with 2 outs in the first and strikes out Moylan, then gets Schobel to fly out to right field. And now the 9th place hitter in the lineup, Peter Burns, the catcher out of Boston College, hitting with 1 out, nobody on here in the top of the second. He's 1 for his last 11 over the past 4 games. The right-hander out of the Atlantic 10 Conference on the mound. He definitely can go long. Went 8 1/3 in the tail end of March, but was a consistent starter. So 7 innings, 5, 6, 7 innings. That's no stranger. That's not uncharted waters for the right-hander, despite it being out of the bullpen for Jared Lyons.
Yeah, and I mentioned that Lyons really could use early counts here to get deep into this game, because Y-D really needs him to go deep. Think about it. You have 2 outs recorded by your starter, Nolan McCarthy, and tomorrow you'd hope to get some length out of Meyer, but he's proven that length is not really a constant for him. It's not a guarantee. So you'd like to save the bullpen as much as you can for tomorrow.
After the free pass to Peter Burns, the lineup flips back over, and Christian Knapczyk at the plate takes the first pitch for a strike. Was offering to bunt, then pulled back. 0-1 the count. And yeah, length is going to be crucial for a pitching staff. for Y-D, especially to help out the offense, who struggled over the last 5 games at the plate. They've got their work cut out on the mound today. That ball hit, and Wyatt Hoffman arranges to make the play over to the right side in shallow right center field. And Wyatt Hoffman goes back, sticks out the glove, and retires Christian Knapczyk for the second out in the top of the first.
Now off the end of the bat, and Knapczyk was just poking some weak contact, hoping to dump it into shallow center field, but Hoffman got a really good jump on it. And even though he's not the tallest player on the team at 5'10", he is pretty quick, and he read it well.
Max Anderson to the plate, 0 for 1, grounded out to Peyton Graham, Y-D shortstop last time at the plate. And takes the first pitch, a breaking ball by Lyons for a strike. Anderson hitting .292 on the year with 6 runs scored. He has 2 doubles and 4 runs driven in, was 0 for 5 in the last game, and that ball sprayed left side. It's down in fair territory, so it's going to be extra bases for Max Anderson, and coming around to score is Peter Burns. It's going to be a play at the plate. Cody Huff applies the tag, and he got him. The relay from left started by Tanner Smith, and the inning ends just like that, as it's Peter Burns who's caught out to dry, trying to come around to score. In the middle of the second, it's 4-0, Bourne on top. Y-D comes to the plate next on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network alongside Brad Klein, Will Connerly here with you, and Chase Luttrell to lead things off in the bottom of the second against the right-hander Tristan Freeling. Grounded to the right side by Luttrell. Moylan flip over to Freeling, and there's 1 away, 1 pitch, 1 out here in the bottom of the second.
Oh, Luttrell trying to challenge Freeling early on, knowing it's a pretty good matchup for him, a lefty against a righty, and he's swinging the bat pretty well, but Freeling is working on a very narrow pitch count right now.
First pitch taken for a strike by Crew Robinson. Came in to get his first at-bat yesterday in pinch hit fashion. Went 0 for 1. Freeling making his 6th appearance of the season. The previous 5 have come out of the bullpen. He's now on a 10 2/3 inning scoreless streak. The only earned run that he's allowed, only run he's allowed all season, came in his first outing of the summer as Crew Robinson swings through a high fastball, 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. He was riding a 7-inning perfect streak coming into this contest. He's 2-0 on the year with a .87 ERA, 13 strikeouts and 10 1/3. And the 1-2 misses high. For Gonzaga, he had 3 saves. He pitched 7 innings in relief in the regional against Oregon. An all WCC honorable mention after he threw 48 2/3 and had a 3.88 ERA and held opponents to just hit 240 off the right-hander. But he's thrown in 5 previous games for Bourne, and the Braves have won all of the games that he has appeared in, and he's working with a 4-run lead right now in the bottom of the second. And here comes the payoff pitch to Crew Robinson. Fouled away to the right side.
Well, here's a good at-bat by Crew Robinson. Win or lose, on base or not, he's working the count on Vreeling, and depth is something that he's proven he can give Bourne out of the bullpen. Shouldn't be a difference as a starter.
Swing and a miss by Robinson, and it's Vreeling who records his first strikeout. 2 away in the bottom of the second. Drew Bowser now to the plate.
I've been impressed with the way Vreeling has established the fastball early on in the game and early on in the counts.
And he has a breaking ball right there, first offering to Drew Bowser. Well, Brock Wilken and Tristan Vreeling, they were just recently named Cape Cod Players of the Week, Pitcher of the Week in Tristan Vreeling, after he had 2 perfect performances of 3 innings and then 4 innings against Y-D now starting. And he's trying to continue the trend that Bourne has set on the mound. The 0-1 to Bowser misses outside. He goes back to the screen. The trend that they've set, they've just allowed 50 runs, a league best. 2.6 runs allowed per game for the Braves. With Bowser at the plate. 2 outs, nobody on in the bottom of the second, and pitch misses low from the right-hander. Ball skied, foul. Chatham topped Y-D yesterday 8-4. Ross Dunn was yanked after 2 innings after surrendering 4 straight free passes in the third. And the next day, it's Nolan McCarthy who's yanked after 2 outs. Bowser swing and a miss in a 1-2-3 frame. 2 strikeouts to end the second for the right-hander Tristan Vreeling. And through 2, it's a 4-0 lead for Bourne. We'll kick it over to the third next on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network.
Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, top of the third inning, and Y-D trying to keep within 4 runs after the Braves put a 4 spot on the Red Sox in the top of the first inning. And here to start off this frame is Dalton Rushing, swinging from the left side. about set to go. Music stops, and Rushing settles into the box. Jared Lyons, the righty from George Mason, has been pretty strong for the Red Sox, and just waiting for the music to kick off here. There it goes.
Not the NBA.
The home plate umpire, Jeffrey Merzel, just making sure that we don't have any technical difficulties upstairs. Fastball misses outside on the first pitch to Dalton Rushing, who is 8 for his last 18 over his last 5 games and his last at-bat. A strikeout victim to the starter, Nolan McCarthy, who only got 2 outs. That was one of them. Changeup misses low, 2 balls and no strikes. He got 2 outs, allowed 4 runs, and 3 of them came on a 3-run homer by Colby Thomas. That was his last batter. And from there, Joshua Moylan struck out against the righty from George Mason, Jared Lyons. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Dalton Rushing. He was only hitting .208 on the road. Hitting .455 in Bourne, though, so good time for Y-D to face him now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jared Lyons, in his first appearance as a Red Sox, was activated earlier today. Big swing and a miss for strike 3. Jared Lyons settling in, getting comfortable. And the 3rd strikeout of the day for Y-D, 2nd of the day for Lyons.
Lyons coming out of the bullpen doing a nice job, and the defense really helped him out to end last inning after the double from Max Anderson, but the great 7-6-2 relay, and he starts out this frame with a strikeout.
Here's Braylon Wimmer. Right-handed hitter takes low for ball 1. Grounded out once in 1 at-bat against Y-D in the first game, but had an RBI double in his last at-bat, came in the 1st inning.
Nearly a home run.
1 ball and 1 strike after the foul ball. But Braylon Wimmer from South Carolina played 16 games for the Gamecocks this past season, hit .276. He's on a 4-game hit streak, now 5. Ever since that 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter against Y-D, that was when the hit streak started. Ground ball sharply hit over to Hoffman at second. On the run, he throws to first in time for out number 2.
Good play by Hoffman, ranging over to his right in that situation to get Wimmer out.
Number 15, center fielder Hayden Wallace from Arkansas.
So 2 outs now, and Caden Wallace, the center fielder, at the plate. He walked and scored a run in the 1st inning. Caden Wallace hitting a cool .368 in the month of July. Swinging from the right side and ropes it down the left field line and foul.
Wallace, he's a really good player, and for Arkansas, who was the #1 ranked team in the country for most of the year, he's someone who's projected to go in the 1st round next year. He'll be eligible in the 2022 draft after his sophomore season.
Inside and low, count even at 1-1. Currently on a 6-game hit streak. Hitting .346 during that span with 6 RBIs, 5 runs scored. 2 balls and a strike as the changeup skips low, backhanded by Cody Huff.
But no ball was in the vicinity of the strike zone last time. It was a 4-pitch walk when McCarthy faced him.
Now that's when you knew that McCarthy was in trouble. 2 balls and 2 strikes after the foul ball. He walked the first batter and got a ground out in the second to Max Anderson. And then he struck out Dalton Rushing. And from there, it was a runner on third with 2 outs. And you kind of thought that McCarthy was going to figure it out and get through with limited damage, if not completely unscathed. That's not how it played out, as the slider misses way outside. The count is now full with 2 outs and no one on to Caden Wallace. Bourne still leads 4-0. They manufactured 4 runs in the 1st inning. Payoff pitch, swung on and missed. Strike 3. Jared Lyons, his 3rd strikeout of the day and his 3rd in his young Y-D Red Sox career. And Bourne is retired in order in the 3rd inning. To the bottom of the 3rd we go. The Braves up 4-0 right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Vreeling is dealing in the bottom of the third inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, and he has a 4-0 lead to his comfort. The left-handed hitting Briley Knight fouls a pitch on the first pitch fastball off of the thigh of Peter Burns. The catcher takes a deep sigh of maybe pain on the unguarded portion of his right leg, but appears to be okay as the home plate umpire Jeffrey Merzel comes out to hand the ball to Vreeling, who has only shrunk his .87 ERA in 30 pitches so far and has gotten 6 outs. Has nearly faced the minimum if it wasn't for an error out in right field and a walk to start the game. No balls and 2 strikes tonight. He's watching.
And he's only needed through his first 2 innings just 30 pitches. So Vreeling indeed is dealing, but that's no news to Bourne Braves fans. He's been doing it all year.
Nice take by Briley Knight on the fastball outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tristan Vreeling, who Y-D Red Sox fans still have some nightmares about. 4 scoreless, 4 perfect innings on July 10th in Bourne. Ground ball over to second. Knapcheck gathers and lofts it over to first in time. 1 gone. So now Vreeling has faced the entire Y-D Red Sox order. He flips the lineup card over to Wyatt Hoffman now. The leadoff man who walked his first time up, ended up reaching second on an error and third on a fielder's choice. He was stranded there, though.
And after that ground out, the right-hander has now thrown 12 straight scoreless innings this summer for Bourne.
Big swing and a miss by Wyatt Hoffman to start off this at-bat. The only run he gave up came in his 1-inning debut on the road against Brewster. And the breaking ball nips the outside corner, or rather lower portion of the strike zone. 0-2 to Wyatt Hoffman with 1 out, no one on, and Y-D down by 4. Breaking ball misses high to Wyatt Hoffman, who's hitting .440 at home.
Incredible. And when you look at, he's hitting .364 versus righties, .317 on the year, and even better when guys are on base.
And cracks it into left center field. That falls for a base hit. A sharp turnaround first. He's going to try to motor for second. The throw by left fielder Wimmer is not in time. Wyatt Hoffman dives into second, safely stretching a single into a double with 1 out in the bottom of the third.
His second consecutive day with an extra base hit. That .440 average at home only going up. That's his 12th hit in 27 at-bats at Red Wilson Field. He's just on fire across the league. He's been one of the premier middle infielders in the entire Cape, but he's hitting great at home. He's hitting just .222 over the last 5 games, but that's actually one of the best marks on the team for Y-D. And again, with another hit for him, and he continues to pace and be the leading hitter for Y-D.
So here's Dominic Keegan, who takes the breaking ball off the plate for ball 1. Well, he has had a roller coaster of a career, had one of his ribs removed from his right side of his body underneath his right arm. Physicians told him that the condition came from a combination of the physical makeup and the wear and tear from a life as a baseball player. And that's a rare thing to have, as you can probably imagine, to have a rib removed. That's something that Matt Harvey had for the Mets fans out there and ended up not being able to feel his fingers. Now, one of Keegan's ribs and muscle had a pinched vein and caused blood clots. Thought that his baseball career might be over. It is very much not. 2 balls, no strikes with a runner on second base and 1 out for the Vanderbilt product, who was drafted in the 19th round, as you mentioned, in this past year's MLB draft. Expected by many to be drafted higher, so he's going to Vanderbilt to boost that stock.
Yeah, and the stock is already really high for this talented hitter.
And Keegan pops it up to the right side, foul ground and out of play.
And Keegan, in his second stint on the Cape, coming here about midway through the season, going to be a big part on the offensive end of this lineup. But you talk about that health scare that he had. The Tennessean did an article and said how a Vanderbilt baseball player who nearly bled to death is among NCAA's best hitters. And it was after Vanderbilt won the national title as when he was a freshman.
Came up short this year, runners up against Mississippi State. Waves at the breaking ball for strike two. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out and a runner on second base. You wonder how much him coming back to Vanderbilt is him chasing another title.
And it could
as opposed to the draft and falling to the 19th of 20 rounds. And it's probably a mixture of both. You'd have to ask him. But they were so close and they were so good this season. They have a lot of talent coming back. Keegan goes down swinging on the breaking ball in the dirt. Burns on to first. The drop third. Strike 2 away in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, and it's interesting about Keegan. After playing, he was a highly touted guy coming out of high school from Massachusetts, and he hit .227 as a freshman, just got 22 at-bats, didn't really have the season that he wanted, and then the next year, 2020, of course, no one had the season that they wanted, being shortened, but he also was dealing with health issues and missed a lot of the beginning of that campaign, but then just had a breakout 2021, and I think he wants to taste that success as a Commodore again next year.
Here's Tanner Smith, another player who many expected to be drafted higher than he was in a way because he wasn't drafted at all. And one of the All-Americans, third-team All-American from Oregon, who is absolutely raked for Y-D.
He's been really good as of late.
Hitting .333 in July, 1 ball, no strikes, pops it up to the infield. Vreeling with his hands up, he needs someone to take charge. The third baseman Anderson gloves it, side retired. Well, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 left on. Wyatt Hoffman's double was wasted, and at the end of 3, it's Bourne by 4, right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Top of the 4th inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, and Jared Lyons, the righty from George Mason, is still pitching and pitching pretty well for the Red Sox as well. In the top of the 4th inning, it's Colby Thomas, the right fielder, who homered his last time up, but is showing bunts now and pulls back on the slider that misses low and away for ball 1.
And he really found his groove this past season at George Mason. 34 innings his first year and had above a 10 ERA.
Line drive right to Peyton Graham at short. He's in the perfect spot to record the first out.
And then that's a big out in Colby Thomas, who had the 3-run home run last time. But Brad, about Lyons, had above a 10 ERA his first year. The next year in the shortened 2020 campaign had 11 ERA. So was surrendering runs his first 2 years at a level that those ERAs, they don't get you on the mound very often. He did throw 34 innings his first year, 9 innings his second year, but had a just breakout performance, a really dominant 2021 campaign this past spring. 2 complete games, 72 and a third. And he's someone who can start, a very formidable starter. He started 19 games for George Mason throughout his 3-year career and was really good this past season.
No balls and 2 strikes to Joshua Moylan, who struck out looking his last time up against Lions. The first batter that Lions faced today. That was a big strikeout to limit the damage that McCarthy gave him. 1 ball, 2 strikes after the changeup that misses low. And you're right, he did come into his own and he did go deep. That was probably his biggest strength for George Mason this past year. He threw at least 100 pitches in his past 3 outings, his last 3 outings for the Patriots. And 100-plus pitches was certainly not Greek to him. That's something that George Mason went to very early on, or realized very early on, that this guy was going to give them length. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball is golfed foul down the left field line.
The only way you can consistently get length like that is if you can get outs, and you're not going to stay in the game if you're not being consistent. And he was able to do that this year, being a great starter at George Mason.
And the changeup misses outside. Count is full. Now, the other thing, he's not just an innings eater. I don't want to create that fallacy. He's also a strike thrower. 76 strikeouts, 38 walks this past year at George Mason. 1 out, no one on. And the payoff pitch is swung on and grounded over to second. Wyatt Hoffman gathers and throws it over to first in time, 2 away.
And he's also doing a really good job right now. Coming in the first inning, second time a Y-D reliever has had to do that this year. Gets a strikeout and has a clean second, clean third in 1-2-3 fashion. He's got the first 2 outs here in the third. He's retired 5 in a row.
Well, the second was clean in that he didn't give up a run. He did allow a couple of base runners, and one of them was likely the score until a fantastic relay from Tanner Smith in left, Peyton Graham at short, and a strike delivered to home, and Cody Huff applied the tag. No balls and 1 strike, make it 1 ball and 1 strike to Tanner Schobel, the shortstop who flew out his first time up to center.
Those relays, those are some of the most exciting plays in baseball.
But that's something that Nolan McCarthy wasn't able to do, as that one skied out to deep left center field. Tanner Smith back on the track. He jumps, and it's gone. Tanner Schobel puts it over the left center field fence. It's now 5-0 for Bourne. The second home run of the season for Schobel, and Bourne is all over the Red Sox.
And the long ball hasn't been too friendly for Y-D in terms of pitching staff. They let up a couple home runs yesterday, and that was really the dagger. It was Eric Yost who let up a home run in back-to-back fashion after Zach Franklin got pulled, and 2 home runs surrendered today. The pitching staff has surrendered the long ball more than anyone in the league.
Well, Y-D as a team offensively has hit 10 home runs. As a team defensively, they've allowed 22. No balls and 2 strikes quickly. Lions trying to shake off that home run. He's ahead of Peter Burns, the catcher. Breaking ball in there, strike 3 called. So Jared Lyons limits the damage. It's still 5-0 in favor of Bourne, though. To the bottom of the 4th we go next on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Bottom of the fourth inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. It's 5-0 in favor of Bourne, and Cody Huff puts a hurt into that one, shallow left field. And there to make the catch is Braylon Wimmer for the first down.
Put a hurt into it. Decent swing there by Huff, but out in front and pops it up to left.
Looked like he hit it off the end of the bat because he timed it up really, really well. But it didn't get any distance there. One away on the first pitch. And Peyton Graham settles into the right-handed batter's box. Grounded out to short in the first inning. And the Oklahoma Sooner takes the breaking ball on the inside corner. Strike one from Tristan Verling.
Graham 3 for his last 18 over the past 5 games.
Verling, breaking ball, got Graham to check his swing, went around, no balls, 2 strikes. Well, Verling, or rather Graham, started the season red hot, and since that 3 for 18 stretch, as he checks his swing, went around, dropped third strike, and Burns on to first in time, 2 away. So Graham's struggles continue. They persist, and Y-D is still looking for the original version of Peyton Graham. His batting average falls well below 250 at this point.
Yeah, and there's interesting things about his game. He's been moved around in the order.
Well, he started the season on a 7-game hit streak, and there was a time where you could basically take your pick, Brooksley or Peyton Graham.
Yeah, he hit 368 in the month of June, was 14 for 38. But in this month, he's 4 for 36. So went from 14 for 38 to 4 for 36 in the month of July. From June to July, those 2 splits, which you've played about the same amount of games in each month now.
Here's Chase Luttrell on 1-1, drives it to deep right center field, and a one hops the wall. Chase Luttrell motors around first. He's on his way to second. It's a stand-up 2-out double for Chase Luttrell in the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, and Luttrell, that's the first double he has statistically this week, but because he had the double at Brewster, he really got a good piece of that ball going the other way in that game, but it happened in the 9th, and then the game was called, so all the runs, the 2 RBI double that he did have, washed away, at least on the stats. Game was called, and Y-D was able to win and split that series against Brewster earlier in the week, but Luttrell now with another extra base hit, his second double of the season, and he just got a really good piece of that, showed his gap-to-gap power, and that's what he did all year at Long Beach State.
Oh, just had, that's right, his second double for Y-D. At Long Beach State this past year, he had 6 doubles, 8 home runs, and 3 triples. So extra base hits kind of a part of his game and hasn't really been the case for the Red Sox in the CCBL. 1 ball, no strikes to Crew Robinson, still looking for his first hit as a Red Sox. Struck out his first time up in the second inning. That was Vreling's first, and Vreling with 3 strikeouts on the day, quickly behind 2 balls, no strikes, with 2 outs and a runner on second base. That's Chase Luttrell.
But it was nice to see Luttrell get a barrel right there in that situation.
Robinson takes the fastball on the inside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike. He mentioned his first statistical double. Had the double in the 9th inning against Brewster, which was washed away. They didn't finish the 9th inning on the road. No lights there either. But I talked to him after. I said, hey, nice double. Sorry it never happened. And he said, hey, at least I still caught a barrel. It was important to him for confidence. And clearly it is right there. The interesting thing is his made-up, fictitious, never really happened double in Brewster was to left field, basically down the line. This one to the right center field gap. A 2-1 to Robinson. Big swing and a miss. Count even at 2-2.
Well, he's someone who does showcase a lot of power, good quick hands. You mentioned he had the long ball 8 at Long Beach State this past season. And his power potential is one of the highest on this team.
2 balls, 2 strikes to the lefty Crew Robinson, and pops it foul out of play to the left side. JUCO player from the San Diego area, was 0 for 1 yesterday in his Y-D debut. And now in a big spot here, if he can keep the line moving, it would be Drew Bowser. The Red Sox down by 5. And Luttrell on second base. Robinson fouls it back to the screen, so we'll do it again. Crew Robinson, one of the additions for the Red Sox, with a couple of roster moves, and the most recent one coming from the bullpen or the starting rotation, depending on how you want to define it, with Zach Franklin leaving the team. And now Vreeling deals. Fastball line to left field, and it is a diving, nearly a diving catch by the center fielder, Caden Wallace. He couldn't hacky sack it. A single, and now Crew Robinson advances to second. It's an RBI hit for Robinson. Luttrell comes around to score, and Y-D is on the board.
Nice piece of hitting there by Robinson. He made Vreeling work in that at-bat. Fouled a few pitches off that were tough, and then able to put something towards center field, and it's Wallace who's not able to get to it in that situation, and he has himself his first hit as a Red Sox and drives in Luttrell. A couple two-out knocks, and Y-D puts some runs on the right-hander who had previously thrown 12 2/3 scoreless until that run was put across by Y-D.
So here's Drew Bowser with Y-D down by 4, despite tying Bourne on the hit margin, 3-3. And Bowser grounds it sharply on one big hop over to Knapcheck, and the second baseman throws it over to first in time, side retired. But an RBI knock for Crew Robinson gets Y-D on the board. It's now 5-1 at the end of 4 on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Top of the 5th inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. It's 5-1 for the Bravos from Bourne. And the left-handed hitting Christian Knapcheck will lead off in the 5th. The second baseman 0 for 1 on the day with a walk and a run scored in the first inning. That came off of Nolan McCarthy, the Georgetown hurler, who only recorded 2 outs before being relieved by George Mason's Jared Lyons in his Y-D debut. 1 ball and no strikes to Knapcheck, and he lines it down the left field line, slicing, and it's fair. Off the chalk in left field, and Christian Knapcheck is on second with a leadoff double in the 5th.
Knapcheck, good piece of hitting, hits it over to the left side, that line-to-line power that he's showing, and he's able to get aboard for the second time today. Drew the walk in the first, and he's aggressive against the right-hander in this at-bat. Lyons has been dealing pretty good throughout this outing, but it's a lined double to the left side for Knapcheck.
And Tanner Smith couldn't catch up to it. So now it's Max Anderson, who doubled his last time up, a breaking ball taken off the plate for ball 1. Anderson doubled his last time up in the second. The only problem was he was the last batter in the second. His double was nearly the hit that brought home Peter Burns, but the catcher was thrown out on a relay from left field for the final out of the frame. The breaking ball bends the strike zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Max Anderson. From the stretch, the righty from George Mason deals. Lyons forces a check swing, and no swing by Max Anderson, who's hitting about 290 right now, 295-ish for Bourne.
Played on a solid team at Nebraska where he hit .332, which was second best for the Cornhuskers.
And the breaking ball he could not resist. 2 balls and 2 strikes. With no one out and a runner on second base. Changeup in the dirt for ball 3. Al Anderson had been playing some third base for the Cornhuskers, class of 2023, and as you mentioned, that really good batting average. But Nebraska lost twice to the top seed Arkansas in the Fayetteville Regional of the College World Series. Payoff pitch. He lays off the breaking ball off the plate, ball 4.
Now batting,
Runners on first and second with no one out for Dalton Rushing, the DH. Well, the good news for Y-D is that Rushing has 2 strikeouts on the day. The bad news is this is Dalton Rushing we're talking about. 8 for his last 19, and the left-hander could really swing it.
Went 3 for 4 last game, and he's just been on a tear for Bourne.
Well, Dalton Rushing hit .254 this past year at the collegiate level. In a big spot here with runners on first and second. Grounds it sharply, gloved by Lyons onto second. The relay by Graham is in time, got him. 1-6-3 double play, and Lyons helping out his own cause. Knapjack advances to third, but there are 2 away for Lyons.
What a play right there. Incredible athletic play by Lyons to start the double play turn. And nice job by the shortstop Graham to move over to the bag and make the throw over to first in time to get Rushing, who was moving up the base pass.
So here's Wimmer. Braylon Wimmer from South Carolina. RBI double in the first and a ground out in the third inning. A breaking ball taken for strike 1. His .271 average just shy of best on the team. .322 on base percentage. Leads the team in doubles with 15. And quickly behind 0-2. His father was a 2-time All-American for Wichita State, was selected to the 1992 Olympic team. So it comes from good baseball blood. No balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner on third base. And Wimmer lays off the slider off the plate. So we've seen Lyons go to the slider outside against those right-handed batters in 2-strike counts pretty consistently, and it seems like Bourne has caught on.
It takes good discipline to lay off those pitches with 2 strikes as well.
See if Lyons goes back to the slider. He doesn't. It's a fastball, bounced foul over to the Y-D dugout on the left side.
Coming in on Wimmer with 2 strikes, not a bad idea. Wimmer did pull a double in the first off of McCarthy, but that was when he was in a hitter-friendly count. When you get ahead in the count and have a fastball that Lyons does that can reach 94, 95 miles per hour, can't be afraid to come in and bust a guy inside, especially a power hitter like Wimmer.
Lions led George Mason in innings pitched, strikeouts, and ERA this past year. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs. And the pitch, elevated fastball, high and tight to Braylon Wimmer. He avoids it for a weird and screeching second ball. So 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner on third base. And Lyons just trying to settle down here, missed on 2 straight fastballs. Goes to the changeup, misses high, so from 0-2 to 3-2. Caden Wallace would be next if Wimmer gets on. In the top of the 5th inning with Bourne up by 4. Here's the payoff pitch. Fouled back to the screen on the fastball. So we haven't seen Lyons go back to the slider. He was having trouble throwing it for a strike earlier, and I don't think he thinks that Wimmer's going to chase it again. So now in a position to challenge him.
4 straight fastballs he has challenged. 2 have missed high and 1 he fouled back inside.
The 3-2. Another fastball chopped slowly over to third. Robinson gathers, rifles across the diamond in time by a half step for the final out and saves a run. Braylon Wimmer couldn't muscle out the infield RBI single, and Bourne comes up empty-handed in the top of the 5th inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left on. In the middle of the 5th, it's Y-D down by 4 right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, bottom of the 5th inning, and a new pitcher on the mound for Bourne. Austin Parsley comes in to relieve Tristan Vreeling. 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, and a walk, and 4 strikeouts. That 1 walk, by the way, came on the first batter that he faced, Wyatt Hoffman. Settled down from there in a big way in Tristan Vreeling, and his first start was pretty good against Y-D, and now it's Austin Parsley, who knows a thing or two about starting against the Red Sox. His only start of the year came against Y-D, 4 innings, 2 runs. That was in the first bout of the year against the Red Sox, and a big win in Bourne. 2 balls, no strikes. He's quickly behind Briley Knight.
17 strikeouts and 0 walks through 13 1/3 for Parsley in 4 games.
Briley Knight ahead, 3 balls and no strikes now. from UNC Greensboro's second team All-SoCon. Was 8-2 in 2021. Now scratch that, 2 balls and 1 strike. And Knight watches the fastball off the plate for ball 3.
So it could be his first walk of the season here.
Briley Knight grounded out his last time up. And the pitch popped up to the infield. And the second baseman Knapczyk saunters under it. He is waved off by Schobel, the shortstop, for the first out.
Now batting, second baseman.
So
number
Knight
3,
is retired on a 3-ball count. Still no walks on the season for Parsley. And Wyatt Hoffman, who's reached base twice today, at the dish with 1 out, 1 on, and no one, rather 1 out and no one on. Hoffman lines it foul.
And he knows a thing or two about starting and going deep in games. His last 2 outings, he's gone 4 innings in each one, although just having 1 start. He's actually been used in longer relief situations and was in the rotation this past spring at UNC Greensboro. He picked up 8 wins on the mound. This past season, had 62 strikeouts and just 8 walks, so he's continuing to put up a good strikeout to walk ratio on the mound.
And the 0-2 to Hoffman. Breaking ball chopped over back to Parsley. He flips an underhand to first in time, 2 away in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Red Sox
Now batting,
have
first
come
baseman,
cold.
number 12, Dominic Keegan.
Showed some life in the last inning with back-to-back doubles, one by Chase Luttrell and then the other by Crew Robinson to bring him home. Other than that, there's been very little to cheer about for the Red Sox fans. Dominic Keegan has been no exception to that rule, 0 for 2. Making his Y-D debut today, 1 ball and no strikes to Keegan. Vanderbilt's 3-hitter. Red Sox fans very excited to have him, and he skies it foul down the right field line.
Y-D's hitting .219 overall as a team, playing in their 21st game of the season now, but just 162 over the past 5 games. That chilliness on the offensive end has continued today.
Keegan avoids the fastball inside, 2 balls and 1 strike, while Vreeling is nearly 24 years old, much like Nolan McCarthy, and he's always been considered, or excuse me, Parsley is nearly 24 years old as Keegan grounds it over to short. Should be an easy play for the backhanded Schobel. He fires over to first in time, side retired. So Austin Parsley comes in and retires Y-D in order. At the end of 5, it's Bourne by 4, right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network.
Tickets are available
Top of the 6th inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, and Caden Wallace, the right-handed hitter, starts off this frame for Bourne, up by 4 with a new pitcher on the mound, Ryan Patel. And that is only good news for the Bourne Braves fans, because the righty from George Mason, Jared Lyons, was pretty good. 4 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run on the homer, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. He was a godsend for the Red Sox after Nolan McCarthy only recorded 2 outs and gave up 4 runs. 1 ball, 1 strike to Caden Wallace, who scored a run in the first inning and walked on 4 pitches. That was the second to last batter that McCarthy faced. Also struck out. 1 of 4 victims for Lions. Ryan Patel making his 3rd appearance as a Y-D Red Sox, recorded 1 out against Bourne in the first bout between these two teams, and in his last outing, an inning and a third, gave up 3 runs, all of them earned on the road against Brewster. Chin music for ball 2 to Caden Wallace. Patel from St. Louis, a junior, recent addition for Y-D, but with all their roster moves, now he's looking like a grizzled veteran. And the 2-1. Breaking ball skips away from Cody Huff and over the backstop.
1 went out of play. You don't see that often on a ball in the dirt.
And you I can only imagine what that would have been if there were ducks on the pond. Runners advance 1, maybe 2 bases, depending on the ruling. 3 balls, 1 strike with no one out, no one on. And Patel, working from the stretch, elevates a fastball that Wallace just could not connect with. The count is now full. Caden Wallace hitting .327 going into this game for Bourne. Grounds it sharply up the middle into center field. A leadoff single for Caden Wallace in the top of the 6th inning.
That average only going up. His first hit in his second at-bat, walked in the first and came around to score. A really good player, one of the better players in this league, and a player to watch out for. Has a super high ceiling. The corner infielder and outfielder for Arkansas.
So Bourne now has a leadoff base runner in 3 of their 6 innings played. Colby Thomas, the right-handed hitter, homered in the first inning and lined out in the 4th at the plate. Checked his swing. Did he go? No, he did not, according to the first base umpire, James Fonseca. 1 ball, no strikes to Colby Thomas. Playing in his 13th game as a Brave. He is 10 for 40 for Bourne, and the breaking ball misses low and inside. 2 balls, no strikes. And coming into this game, he was 5 for 20 in his last 5 games. It's just a .250 batting average. And believe it or not, for Bourne, that was the best mark over the last 5 games. And sure, they won 3 against Hyannis, but they were kind of roughed up there a little bit. Winning 3 against Hyannis, and the Harbor Hawks with just 2 wins on the season. Only lost by 1 at one point to Bourne. 3 balls and 1 strike now on the fastball that gets over on the inside corner.
And the main reason why is the guy on first base, Caden Wallace. He had the walk-off hit. They played Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. On Wednesday night, it was Wallace who had the walk-off.
Big swing and a miss by Thomas for strike 2. The second consecutive full count that Ryan Patel faces, just 2 batters in, no outs, and a runner on first base. That was Caden Wallace on the single to lead off this inning. Y-D down by 4 in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Patel checks back a diving Wallace at first. So Ryan Patel is tasked with keeping it close for the Red Sox. And after Lyons did just that, the pressure might not necessarily be on Patel, but on the offense to pick it up. Runner goes, payoff pitch is inside, ball 4. So a single and a walk put runners on first and second, no one out for Joshua Moylan.
First baseman, number 35, Joshua Moylan.
Some action in the Red Sox bullpen behind Patel. It's Eli Morse, another new addition for the Red Sox from Portland. And with no outs, Patel deals high on the fastball. And Cody Huff wants to have a word with the St. Louis righty. And Y-D has made a lot of new moves. Dominic Keegan coming in, that's a big addition. Crew Robinson looks like he can contribute in the infield. The biggest moves that they've made in terms of quantity come from the pitching. And something that is always a Rubik's Cube piece in summer ball are the arms. And that is likely going to be the difference between a deep run in the CCBL playoffs and an early exit, maybe even no playoff berth at all if the pitching holds up for the Red Sox. 1 ball, no strikes to the left-handed hitting Joshua Moylan. Make it 2 balls and no strikes as Patel lets the fastball get away from him outside.
Yeah, and as of late, that ERA for the team has been up a little bit. They've tried to find an answer on the mound. At the beginning of the year, the main storyline was the starters giving Y-D just some great length, but now they're looking for that. The past week, they've tried to get some starters to give them some solid outings. They have a 4.07 ERA as a team over the past 10 games, and Y-D's 5-5 in those games. But in the month of June, they had a 3.71 team ERA.
Count is now full to Moylan. I'll make that 3 balls and 1 strike. And Moylan in 13 at-bats, just hitting .077 with runners in scoring position. Runners on first and second, no one out. Top of the 6th inning, he draws the no-out walk to load the bases. Back-to-back walks after a leadoff single, and now it's Tanner Schobel's turn.
27, Tanner Schobel.
So Patel working himself into an early pickle here, and the Red Sox, even though they have hit a bit of a rut in terms of pitching, that comes with the growing pains of trying to figure out their rotation and trying to figure out their bullpen. And Scott Pickler wants to see what Eli Morse has to offer. He's coming out to take the ball from Ryan Patel. He faced 3 batters, didn't record a single out, a single and 2 walks. Load the bases for Tanner Schobel, and now it's up to Eli Morse from Portland to figure it out. We'll be back in a moment with no one out in the top of the 6th inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, still the top of the sixth and still some trouble for Y-D. Down by 4 with the bases loaded after a single and 2 walks by Ryan Patel. He's now out of the game. Eli Morse is in, the Portland Pilot, who started for 3 seasons and turned into their closer. The infield is in for the righty from Portland. He kicks and deals, and the fastball nicks the lower portion of the strike zone. No balls and 1 strike to Schobel, who homered his last time up, and Eli Morse, usually it's the other way around. You start as a reliever and turn into a starter. That's not the way it worked. Ground ball sharply hit over to Graham. He tries to go home, couldn't get the transfer in time, and on to score is a sliding Caden Wallace. So Bourne strikes again. It's now 6-1 in the top of the 6th inning, and no surprise that the ground ball was forced early on by Eli Morse, more of a ground ball guy. 245 ground outs, 171 flyouts, and 201 strikeouts in his out distribution career for Portland. So now it's runners on the corners with 1 out and Y-D down by 5.
And mentioning he had 3 solid years as a starter and went through a developmental process with the Pilots, but then went into the back end of their pen. But he was a mainstay in that pitching rotation ever since his freshman year when he was WCC All-Freshman team. But was the closer this past year with 8 saves, and he's not a stranger to coming in with runners aboard.
No balls and a strike to Peter Burns with Schobel on first and Colby Thomas on third. You're right, as the ground ball is hit over to Hoffman on a high hop. He has no choice but to go to first. Both runners advance, and one of them comes around to score. It's Colby Thomas for the 7th run of the day for Bourne. They now lead 7-1 in the top of the 6th.
But the inherited runners, both of them coming around to score here in this situation for the right-hander.
Well, he inherited 15 runners this past season in 2021, only allowed 6 of them to score. Which, if you think about it, is pretty incredible considering he is a ground ball guy, forcing contact, which almost always advances the runners.
Yeah, and he doesn't walk
as it
a
did
lot of
here.
guys. Yeah, and it does a good job. And as a closer, you look at the ERA, but you also, it's a crucial thing to look at inherited runners because you come in sticky situations. When they want the back end to get hot, is what he did at Portland. If it's the 8th or the 7th or the 9th with guys on, you've got to come in and limit inherited runners. It's a crucial thing to look at.
Quickly behind, 3 balls, no strikes with 2 outs and a runner on second base. It's Tanner Schobel, who reached on the fielder's choice and drove in a run. At the plate, it's Christian Knapczyk. Doubled his last time up in the 5th. Fastball taken for strike 1. So the Red Sox down by 6. They've seen a plethora of pitchers. It started with Nolan McCarthy, only recorded 2 outs and gave up 4 runs. From there, they got a big boost from Jared Lyons, from George Mason, and a 5-pitch walk allowed with 2 outs by Eli Morse in the top of the 6th inning. So now it's runners on first and second with Bourne up by 6, 2 outs for Max Anderson.
And Morse, typically a guy who's in the zone a lot, just had 13 walks this past year and 36 and a third. But limits opposing hitters in terms of getting hits. 198 batting average allowed this past year as well. Has that funky delivery and trying to come in and clean up the mess that he found himself in with the bases loaded and nobody out. Getting 2 ground outs, but 2 runs did come across the score in that situation.
Now the funky delivery comes with the angle at which he contorts his body and how early he breaks his hands. The breaking ball misses low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes to the righty Max Anderson.
Well, he breaks his hands and the glove hand actually goes up, and that can offer some deception because his shoulder is blocking his arm until he comes out to release. A lot of guys can use that glove arm to block the ball longer for the hitter in terms of seeing when it's going to be released.
Foul ball off of Cody Huff. He appears to be shaken up, but not seriously damaged there. So 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs. and runners on first and second. Well, he breaks his hands so early. Typically, when you start to learn how to pitch, they teach you to break your hands by your belt after unzipping basically your jersey. If you're wearing a jacket, you unzip down with your hands. And he's just ripping it off, kind of like Superman, just taking it off right there.
Yeah, and some pitchers like to do that for deception, but also for a mechanical cue, because if you can land with your top glove above your shoulder at landing, that can help you stay back longer. Some guys, and he does a good job of keeping his body back and maybe letting the hand break higher. Not only does it offer deception, but it has everything out in front of you, and then when you land, you're able to pull down on the pitches, and he's a big guy, so he can get on top of the ball.
Slider gets outside. The count is now full to Max Anderson with 2 outs and runners on first and second. It's Knapczyk on first and Schobel on second. They'll both have head starts. And the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Got him on the fastball. And Eli Morse comes in to get 3 big outs. The third one coming on a big-time strikeout on Max Anderson. And Y-D still down by 6 in the middle of the 6th right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Bottom of the 6th inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, and it's the Braves game right now. 7-1 they lead. And Tanner Smith, the lefty from Oregon, trying to resuscitate this comeback. Fastball on the outer half of the strike zone. No balls in the strike from Austin Parsley, who came in out of the bullpen and delivered a scoreless frame in relief of Tristan Vreeling, who was fantastic. 4 innings, 3 hits, only 1 run allowed on back-to-back doubles by Luttrell and Robinson. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Pop up to the left side. The third baseman Anderson is waved off by the shortstop Schobel for the first out.
Schobel going all the way down to the left field line to make that play on Tanner Smith, who pops it out with weak contact. And he's hit the ball in the air all 3 times today. Had the air hit it to right field his first time, but Colby Thomas dropped it and then popped out to third and now to shortstop on the day for Tanner Smith.
So here's Cody Huff, 0 for 2 on the day, and the breaking ball's on the outside corner for strike 1. And Huff swings through the fastball, loses his balance. No balls, 2 strikes. Huff from Stanford came into this game hitting .333 at home, now 6 for 20 at Red Wilson Field. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Cody Huff has emerged as one of the elite catchers in the CCBL. You can make the argument that he's been the best Cape catcher that we've seen this season. Kevin Parada, you could make the argument, is the most talented, as a guy that's projected to go top 10 in next year's draft, as Huff gets under it into foul territory on the left side and out of play as Anderson was on for a look.
Yeah, Kevin Parada going to Team USA.
But the thing is, Parada is unequivocally the best catcher in the CCBL this year, but not the best performance from a catcher in the CCBL.
Right, and he had a smaller sample size because he went to Team USA, left, but you're right.
Cody Huff this season, 12 for 45. That'll play, especially when you have such great defense like he does. A cannon behind the plate has only allowed 2 runners to steal on him. One of them came today when he mishandled a pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out and no one on. And Cody Huff lines it back to the screen, so we'll do it again. But Huff is one of those guys, the scouts are here to see him. And they're already rinsing and repeating the process with the draft over for this season. Scouts are coming in, and they know that he's going to be one of the elite catchers in next year's class. But watches the fastball by the knees on the inside corner. Strike 3 called.
Inside corner is right. I mean, that's a good pitch. Cody Huff as a catcher, I mean, he knows he wants to frame those pitches when he's squatting behind the plate, but it's dotted up right on the inside black, and it's a really good pitcher's pitch with 2 strikes to have the confidence to come inside, not hit the guy after he's already pulled some inside pitches. That's just a painted fastball right there.
And slams his bat down into the grass on his walk back to the dugout. 1 ball and no strikes quickly on Peyton Graham. 0 for 2 today with a strikeout of his own in the 4th. Thought about going on the breaking ball, but instead takes it low for ball 2. Now, Peyton Graham is no stranger to a bases empty situation. Has led off for the bulk of his young Y-D career. Ground ball over to second. Should be an easy play for Knapczyk. It is. Side retired. At the end of 6, Y-D down by 6. Right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network.
Attention.
A 7-1 lead for Bourne, top of the 7th. And Morse for his second frame of work. First clean frame came in with the bases juiced and nobody out. But Brad, he did a solid job. The Portland closer coming in a situation that was a little sticky, but he came in and got a couple ground balls where both inherited runners that he had came around to score. And then was able to get out of it, getting the strikeout of Anderson to end the frame as Rushing chops it foul. Rushing grounded into a 1-6-3 double play last time at the plate. He's 0 for 3 with a couple strikeouts coming into this game, leading the team with a .350 average, 3 home runs and 10 runs driven in, and hitting .471 over the past 5 games and .333 this month over the last 10 games. He's really been on a tear so far.